What's going on with y'all, fam? We back with another one. You know what to do. Tap in, tune in, lock in, smash the like button. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, man. Make sure the notification bell is turned on because Hidden Hills 4 is being worked on right now as you watch this video. And I thank you guys for the love and support, for all the new people coming onto this platform, seeing these videos. I do create music. I make music for a select group of people, and hopefully you can go check me out on all platforms. Everything is found down in the description box. You can see the title of this one, man. Their obsession with you. Okay, what is the obsession with the chosen ones on this earth right now? If you're experiencing stalking, monitoring, obsession, anything of the sort, hopefully this video can help break some things down, decode some things for you, right? And just give you insight and understanding on what God has shown me on what's going on out here if you're experiencing these things. Okay, the first thing I want to say is people in darkness, people who don't have belief, maybe people who are even, you know, on the fence about God or whatever it may be, they start to become curious about your life when you choose to walk with God. The first thing that happens, okay, that causes people to become obsessed with you is usually curiosity. Okay, curiosity is the doorway into someone becoming obsessive. Okay, what happens is this: a lot of witches and warlocks, a lot of people out here who are participating in this dark stuff will attack your life one way or another, even if it's as subtle and simplistic as gossiping about you. Okay, and when those things do not do what they want them to do in your life, right, they don't have the effect that they were hoping that it would have, people become curious, and that curiosity leads to obsession. Okay, so when a failed attempt on your life from Satan, the enemy, your enemies out here, when they continue to fail and God continues to protect you, right, provide for you, prosper you, bless you, shield you, all these things that he promises that he does for his people, people become obsessed with your life. Witches and warlocks like to explore and manipulate the spirit world. Okay, this is what they are obsessed with. It's just like any of us out here who struggle with addictions. You have to understand, these people who do this, they have become obsessed and addicted to manipulating the spiritual world and realm. And it goes to lengths and levels at times where, yes, they try to intrude in your life, right? Where they want to try to become God in your life. God has shown me time and time again what obsession, you know, what the root of obsession is. And it simply is, it starts so subtly at times. It's the subtle thought of, I wonder what you are going to do in this life. I wonder what your life is going to look like. And it's a trickle effect, okay? So seeing somebody who's divinely protected, especially when it comes to a witch, a warlock, even a demon itself, a principality, it's going to trigger intense curiosity, okay? Like, people start to wonder, why are you so protected? Can your protection be broken? Can your protection in your life and what God is doing in your life be replicated? Okay? And that's what happens with this stalking stuff, this monitoring, you know, things that happen in our lives out here. You have to realize that the obsession that they have is usually due to failed attempts on your life. Okay? People become obsessed because they like to rebel against divine order. Okay, witches represent rebellion. That's what witchcraft is. It's manipulation, rebellion, and control. So people will begin to fixate on you the more you draw close to God, okay, because of what you represent and what God does in your life every single day. Truth, righteousness, right? To the higher power. So you can be guided, directed, and led into his perfect will. Another thing that causes obsession, okay, if you're experiencing this, you have to understand a lot of people have hidden jealousy and resentment towards God's chosen people. Okay, if you have a light in your life, if you have a passion, a talent, a purpose, if you are anointed in any area of your life, I don't care where it is, the favor of God and being chosen will spark people to have a deep envy about them, okay? They will be very, very jealous, very, very envious, and they will cover it up. 90% of people will never admit that they're actually jealous, okay? A lot of people feel abandoned by God. Okay, witches feel like they're cursed by God, spiritually exiled, so they develop this anger and this hatred, right? Which causes them to attack, which causes them to smear you or gossip about you, right? Witches may have sought out God's favor at one point, but they didn't do, what they needed to do. And they turned their back on God after they felt, a rejection happen in their life or whatever it may have been, which causes a deep emotional wound, okay? And it causes them to look at you and feel all of those emotions, which causes them to do other things, right? Opening up spiritual doors and stuff, gossip, slander, mockery, scoffing, smear campaigns. And then it gets into the darker things like playing with Ouija boards and voodoo and black magic and all of this stuff, okay? Another thing that causes these people to obsess is you are a threat in general, okay? When you choose Christ and when you choose God in this life, you are just simply a threat to this system, to the ways of this world, to what this world, is accustomed to. So witches and warlocks and stuff, they can sense your destiny. People can sense your light in this world, okay? Even if they're not a witch or a warlock, people just simply can sense there's something different about you. You're carrying a light, right? And they may begin to obsess over that, right? And it might not even be out of hatred at first, but obsession is not of God, okay? And they understand that God has a big blessing for you in your life, right? They understand that He has a big purpose for you. And you play a critical role in their life just by being around at times, okay? It causes them to reflect. It makes them wonder if God has the same thing for them. They get into that comparison mindset, right? So the threat that they see is because of that comparison. So they begin to obsess. Instead of focusing on God for themselves, they're focused on you, right? They're not worried about their own fate and what God has for them. They're constantly comparing, which can cause obsession, Another thing that God showed me is people are egotistical, man. People want power, okay? So a spiritual clash will happen when it comes to darkness and light. God's chosen are divine, we are sent, we're protected, we carry His spirit within us, we have favor, God gives us authority, all kinds of stuff. So witches in the darkness do not like this, okay? So it's a power clash that happens. So they want to challenge you, okay? They don't realize why you are blessed, why you have these things is because of God. So they'll begin to challenge you. They want to harness your energy, right? I talk about this spiritual manipulation and energy manipulation and trying to harvest off of your light and your blessings. And they are upset when God's light starts to exude in your life. They want to destroy it, okay? A lot of people are dealing with obsession right now in many different ways. Last thing I'll say is, obsession is something that most people overlook, okay? Most people don't understand when someone is constantly thinking about you, watching you, wondering what is going on in your life, not being able to focus on self or anything else. It's very toxic and it causes people to get into dark things, witchcraft, okay? You got to understand, gossiping and slandering and smear campaigns and all this stuff is the start of witchcraft. It may not be super dark to start off, right? But if you're noticing all of a sudden people coming around you, trying to get into your energy and your life, trying to overstep boundaries, trying to do these things in your life and are willing to go against what God is doing and instructing you to do, there's going to be a clash that happens, right? And these people are going to fight, and they don't fight fair. They invoke things, they do certain stuff, they use manipulation, dark psychology, all of this stuff, and God sees it. God knows it, okay? He does everything that we go through, everything we've experienced, anything you're going through. You have to understand that Christ Himself already went through it. So He understands how deep this stuff goes at times, even when you feel like you can't share this with people, right? If you have insight, if you have understanding, if you're receiving this knowledge, it's hard to process at times because this world will make you feel crazy when you discuss these topics, right? That's another thing they use and utilize. When you call out people for being obsessed or jealous or resentful or wanting to dominate you or narcissistically, control you or whatever it looks like, they use a gaslight. They say that you're crazy, right? It's not really happening to you, all this stuff. And in reality, it is. You see the devil, you see his ways, you know the ways of this flesh because God has educated you on these things. Their obsession with you also is bred from wanting to control you. Okay, if you know, you know. A lot of us, we're told how to people please our whole lives. Okay, everybody. We're told how to be yes men. We're told how to think and act and move and do all these different things ever since we're little. Okay, so when you start to break out of that mold, and the more that you draw close to God, the more you're going to break the worldly molds and ways. People will start to obsess because they want control. They want power. They want to feel powerful over another person. God is a jealous God, okay? He wants to be Lord in your life. He wants to direct your steps. He doesn't want somebody, even if they feel like they're not doing it with ill intent, to try to control somebody and obsess over what they are doing in their life, right? What's coming forth for your life. All of these different things, it's not acceptable. And this is why God will deal with your enemies accordingly, okay? You just continue to do what you need to do on a daily and realize that most people are seeking power and control. Most people want to feel like a god, okay? They're not humble before the throne. They're not in complete submission. They're letting ego or jealousy or pride or whatever it may be drive them to want to obtain that control over you. And once you break it, like I said, once you come out of it, okay, once you start to draw close to him, naturally you're going to break control that this world has on you in many different ways, through people, through materials, through all kinds of stuff, right? And the world hates to see it. The world needs you plugged in. These narcissists live to control people. They live to obsess over somebody, right? And try to turn them into a battery or a supply for their own life. Okay, God doesn't want this for your life. So if you notice any kind of obsession, jealousy, okay, any kind of ego or power trips, or you notice, someone showing resentment or not being fully healed, and it's causing them to start to treat you a certain way, or you notice random things happening in your life, Gangstalking, monitoring going on, people gossiping and talking, just stay to self, stay close with the Most High, recognize the threat, recognize what's going on, learn how to address it through your prayer life, okay? Because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. So a lot of the times God will simply just tell you to stay isolated, remain in him, stay prayerful, you know what I mean, and let him do what he's going to do. We have to allow God to be God. These are battles at times that we can't fight, obviously, okay? People manipulating spiritual things and doing all kinds of work in the spirit is something that we have to surrender to the Lord, because all we do is have a prayer life, right? We don't have the capability of fighting off these things physically. So we have to let God be God. There's no leg for people to stand on when it comes to this, because people shouldn't be so worried about what you're doing, okay? Unfortunately, right now in the times we're in, too many people are focused on the next person. Too many people are focused on what God is doing in other people's lives, okay? And they don't need to be doing this. This is why God's going to continue to protect you. He's going to continue to, educate you and elevate you and reveal things to you in due time. Just understand what's driving this stuff, okay? At the end of the day, it's Ephesians 6:10-20. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. So yes, these people at times have demons operating in them. Not everybody. A lot of people operate out of their flesh, which is also an enemy to God. Okay, most people are living in the physical plane as it is, and they're not aware of the spiritual, severity behind some of this stuff. Some people are, and they choose darkness, right? Those are the ones that are direct enemies of God, and they're going to continue to obsess over the fact that they can't destroy you. They don't realize that they're fighting the Most High's hand in your life, his divine will in your life. When you have a relationship with him, and someone begins to try to destroy that or mess with it, the Bible has many different scriptures to let us know how God will deal with these people. So you continue to remain faithful. You continue to remain, prayerful and careful, and just be aware. Seek God's face for everything, man. Obsession is not okay. It's happening at an all-time high, especially if you are, known in your community. You have social medias, whatever it looks like. People are being too curious about other people's life, and usually it's to stop them, it's to try to turn their lights out, it's to try to get them away from God, it's to try to kill, steal, and destroy, man. That's who these people are. Keep your boundaries up. Like I said, take everything before God in prayer. Every single step you take, every move you want to make, any person you want to maybe consider a connection to, before you do that, please just consult with the Most High, because right now more than ever, people are being put into a jealousy mindset, and they are out here in a constant comparison. They have a lot of wounds that they need to heal. They have a lot of things that they need to turn away from before they can ever even be in your presence. Okay, honestly, God doesn't want everyone around you for many different reasons. He sees things that we can't see. Okay, we can't see deep into the heart and soul of people. We can't see people's thoughts and all this other stuff. God can though. Okay, so trust his will, trust his protection, trust his guidance. I love you guys. Hidden Hills 4, I do have an official date for everyone who does support. We will be dropping on 11/11. Shout out to my subscribers for giving me that date. I love that. It's I think it's a Thursday or a Friday. So November 11th, Hidden Hills 4. Bunch of details coming in all the community posts. Shout out to everybody out there. I love you guys so much, man. You already know what it is. Till next time, say a prayer for your brothers, sisters, and self. I'm out.